All right, hello everyone, and welcome back for our weekly how-to and Q&A session here on YouTube Live. My name is Chris at Deco Network, and I'll be the host for today. So great, we did do a bit more of a push on the marketing for the Q&A session this past week, and we did receive a lot of questions through the blog. So I will go ahead and address some feedback that we noticed based on the questions that were being submitted. A lot of those questions were focused more on requests for new features or functionality not present in the Deco Network system today. So we definitely have avenues for you to submit that type of feedback, and I definitely want to go over those now. So those type of questions, we really don't have um, a way to address those here, right? We're showing the system in the way that it functions today. So we can't really talk to features coming down the line or features that don't exist today. All right, but if you do have that type of feedback, you're wanting the system to work a certain way, you have a new feature that you'd like to see, we do have an ideas section, which is where you'll want to submit that. So if you're logged into your Deco Network system, the way you can get to the ideas page is by pressing the help icon here at the top. So I guess the first resource that I would mention for feedback is our community forums. There you can join discussion with other Deco Network licensees to talk about the system or questions that you might have. So to get to the ideas page, you'll want to click that community forums link. That's going to take you to our community forums section. There at the top of that menu, you'll see a section for feature ideas. So if you click on that feature ideas link up at the top, it'll take you to a list of all of the ideas being submitted. Here, both yourself and other Deco Network licensees can log in and add their vote of support for specific feature requests. There is a section there for the top 100 voted ideas, so there you can get an idea of which ideas our team might be looking at in terms of what would be implemented next. We do look at this as feedback, to identify where the demand is on specific functionality. So it's a good way for us to, understand the needs of our users. So again, if you have that type of feedback as far as new features or improvements, definitely this is the best channel to submit those comments over to. And then the other type of question that we had was more kind of specific, tailored to your own Deco Network system. So if you have questions, specific errors that you're running into, we'd have to look at your specific system, which we're not going to pull up here on the live broadcast for everyone to see. So that type of question you'd want to submit through our support channels. Again, if you're logged into your system, you hit that help icon, and you can always submit or raise a support ticket with that specific question related to your system. All right, but we did get some questions that we can kind of address generally for everyone. So we'll go ahead and jump into that. I do see one question here through the chat, so we'll go ahead and start there. So the question is it possible to give someone a quick price quote without having to go through formal prices quote? So essentially, can I give a quick price quote without actually generating a quote is what I'm understanding. Um, so if you pull up Business Hub, really Business Hub is going to be pulling in from all of that information that you've built into your configuration, right, in terms of your products, your price tables for decoration, things like that. So in order to generate a price, you do have to go in and at least add, whatever product is being asked for, or maybe a generic one, like let's say a Gildan 2000 or something. But you do want to at least pick an item. As far as artwork, you don't necessarily need to have the artwork right off the bat to generate a quote. You can pull up the designer and add a placeholder rather than the original artwork. So the placeholder will, take a look at again, that same intelligent information like your price table. So it will give you a good idea as far as what the final pricing might be. It will be more of an estimate without the actual artwork and things like that, especially for a process where you might be using area-based pricing or something like that, right? The final image may be much larger than the placeholder or smaller than the placeholder, but it would give you a pretty good idea on pricing. So if you're doing it through Business Hub, there isn't a way around, adding items and adding artwork. The system does require that information to generate a price quote. If you're doing it through the web store, which you might have your own web store pulled up side by side with your Business Hub, you do have access to the quick quote page, which allows you to kind of streamline that a little bit. It does ask for less information, but it's even more of an estimate than what Business Hub would generate. So, for example, you'll pick a product that you want to quote, and on the third step, it'll prompt you for what type of decoration is going on the particular garment. So again, it's not asking for any artwork, it's just what type of print is going on which location. So you might say it's going to be an embroidered left chest and a screen print back with one color, right? So that kind of generic question will ask you for quantities, so it can look up your quantity breaks and determine if this quote would get special discount. So you will want to have an idea of at least how many shirts the order would be for, and that will give you a rough estimate on pricing. Again, just keep in mind that the price would change once you actually have artwork and know the size of it, things like that. Okay, so those are your two options. Business Hub, with which I think is probably going to be a little bit more accurate, or Quick Quote, which is really quick to get a price estimate, but not necessarily as accurate. All right. Let's see here. We have a question here related to Corel templates. Um, can we demonstrate uploading a Corel template that works as a customizable design for a product? So we have someone here who's been having issues successfully uploading a Corel Draw template. Um, we may need to come back to that one. I'm not sure if I have a Corel Draw template here on my system. I'll look for that. But in the meantime, let's see if we can address some of the other questions that were left through the blog. One that did come up a couple times through the blog was through the blog comments was related to QuickBooks integration. Um, so the QuickBooks integration, or rather the accounting integration that we offer through the system, it's a fairly broad topic. And so most likely what I'll do on one of the subsequent sessions is I'll take an entire session and cover one accounting software. So, we'll do an entire session for QuickBooks Online and how to configure that, how to get it running for your system, and then address any questions related to that specific accounting software in conjunction with Deco Network. All right, so we won't address those during this session, but definitely check back on future sessions for those specific topics, and we'll make sure to let you guys know, which session is going to be for which software once we're ready to cover those. Okay, so we had a question from Brian through the blog comments asking about customizing the product view page. So let's just run through the options that are available. Let me go ahead and pull up my web store into the web page editor. Okay, there it is. So I'll click into pages. The view product pages are listed down here at the bottom under the system pages section. You'll want to expand out the product list and you're going to see all of these sub pages listed. So you've got view blank product, view pre-decorated product, view design on product. In this case, I think we're talking about view blank product. So let's select that page. All right, now the specific changes that Brian was looking to make, I don't know that we offer those specific changes, but let me just show what types of changes we do offer. So Brian was looking to move uh, the sizes and colors, I think, over here on the left-hand side, right under his product image. And he was looking to have the description kind of take up that full space, not hidden behind this more link. Now we do that, we hide away the full description. It's an optimization for mobile devices where vertical space is really, it's a lot more crucial than it is on the desktop, right? By having more vertical content on a mobile device like let's say a smartphone or a tablet, you're increasing the amount of scroll that the user has to do to get to the relevant content. Let's say, the add to cart button. Um, so we kind of minimize that description. If the end user, your customer wants to see that full description, they can always click that more button to expand it out. Um, so some of the options that you do have as far as the description, you can change to more of a tab-based layout. So right now the product description is up there at the top. It's listed under the properties panel. You can switch it to show under extra details. And that would change it to work similar to how it worked in our previous 7.5 front-end framework, where description is a tab here at the bottom. So description would be your first tab. You can see it shows the full description without needing to hit more. And then there's the remaining sections as well. So sizing, shipping, discounts, so on and so forth. So you can configure each of these different displays to show in a specific section where you might want it. Extra details is this section down here, again with either a tabbed layout or you can set them up as blocks as well. So kind of an accordion style uh, uh, sectional type of layout where you expand out description, expand out sizing, expand out shipping and things like that. Or you can just have them display all at once. Again, this shows the most information at once, but you do run into potential issues with optimization for mobile and having a longer scroll for your page. But whatever fits your need, we give you these options here. So it's up to you to make the choices as far as how you want your page laid out. But we give quite a bit of flexibility on how to adjust the display of each of these sections of information. Okay, but yeah, great question on that, Brian. Hopefully that answers your question and helps our other licensees as well. Okay. Let's see here. We had a question from John who wanted to know, is there a list that shows all of the current jobs and the total amount of money? So for that, I'm going to refer you over to Business Hub. Business Hub is really where you're going to find all the information about your pending orders, your outstanding balances, your total order value, and things like that. There are dashboard screens in Business Hub, which give you a summary in terms of value coming through your system in a specific period of time. The lists that are going to show you all of your open orders are the ones primarily under the sales and service section of Business Hub. So you've got a list for your quotes, your orders, your abandoned carts. Um, so that's primarily where I would point you to. Um, One thing to highlight, which does get missed sometimes, is Business Hub does have flexibility on which columns of information you can include in each list. So if you come over here to the right-hand side of the screen, right above the search button, we've got the configure columns button listed there, which allows you to turn on maybe additional columns of information that you might want to display, like ship date when an order was shipped, or invoice date when an order was invoiced. You can also turn off columns that you don't want. So maybe if your orders never have a customer PO number like mine, I might turn that column off, right? So it's customizable, and all of that configuration is saved to your account. So if you log in, using your account on one machine, and then the next day you're logging in on another machine, that column configuration is saved to your account. So you can have the screen look just how you want it. Uh, and along those lines, we do also maintain your column sorting. So if um, you're on the production team and you want to see orders by due date, right? You set your column sorting by due date by clicking that header at the top for that specific column. The system's then going to sort by that column, and we're going to remember that for your login. So again, if you log into different machines, that's going to carry over as well. And then the last thing to touch on there is uh, there are fields below each column header that allow you to filter based on content from that column. So if you want to, for example, filter by customer, you can go in and do a search for a customer name. That goes the same for all of these columns, so job name, things like that. You can filter by columns, you can sort by columns, and you can configure which columns you want to see. All right, as far as seeing a total amount of money throughout the jobs, again, that would be more covered by the dashboard. We don't have a running total down here at the bottom of the list pages, right? Because they can be multi-page screens. But if you go into dashboard, that's more of a kind of total numbers throughout time type of display. All right, let's see. We've got a question from Stephen who's asking. Oh, I think that might be the same question as the previous one regarding CorelDRAW templates. So I am checking on my CorelDRAW here. I'm trying to pull that up and see if I have a usable template that we can use as an example. So again, we'll come back to that one once I have something ready. In the meantime, let me just pull back in here from some of the other questions that we had submitted through our blog comments. Okay, so we had Bobby asking about the ability to assign apparel to a design, or maybe the other way around, assign a design to specific apparel items. Um, let's go ahead and kind of address that. That's not something that we necessarily uh, support through the Deco Network system, but um, I mean, there is a way to kind of accomplish what you're after there. It's just not necessarily the way you're thinking of it. So if we take a look at one of my affiliate stores here, and let's view that site on the front end. So really what, the way Bobby would have her store set up is rather than showing products like my affiliate store is showing, her store might be showing instead designs. And by showing the designs page, you do open up the possibility for a design to be picked, and that design can be applied to any product that supports the decoration processes that the design is assigned to, right? So a design can be assigned to processes like direct to garment, embroidery, screen printing, transfer, whatever the case might be as far as what processes a design is assigned to, that's going to determine which products it's available to apply onto. There isn't a way to configure a design and say this design is only available on the Gildan 2000. Um, if you do want that level of control over which designs are on which products, at that point you're doing this type of setup, the type of setup I have here on my football booster store, where you're taking those combinations, design and product, and you're creating those yourself and making them available to your customers. So here on my side, I don't show the designs page. And this kind of goes along a topic that we covered on a previous session, which is, how to focus your website and how to limit the amount of workflows that you're kind of pushing your customer down, right? By default, on a new site, there's actually several different funnels that are enabled. You've got, for example, the create page, which allows a customer to pick a blank and then apply any design onto it. You have the designs page, which again, I just highlighted. You can pick a design and then apply that to any product. And then you also have the shop page, which is your pre-decorated items, which is what you're seeing now here on the screen. So a lot of different workflows to push your customer down. Um, just to kind of highlight, again, we covered this on a previous session, but my feedback was to kind of focus that down a bit, figure out what's the best workflow for this use case, right? In my example here, it's a football booster site. So I want, they know which products they are going to be purchasing. I want to create those products with those designs. I don't want to offer anybody the option to pick a blank and add their design or pick a design and put it on any blank. So um, yeah, my recommendation for Bobby's case would be, switch over to the decorated product workflow where you're pre-creating those products for them and just making them available. Okay. All right. So we've got a question from Brian in the live chat who wants to know how to use Rhinestone template. So let's take a look at that. That's a fairly, somewhat new process that we've added within the last couple years. Um, it doesn't. So these last two processes that we added, transfer and Rhinestone, um, I would say they're a little bit more generic in terms of the Rhinestone template process doesn't have any specific Rhinestone functionality. The way it would work is, we have customers who have some external software that they use to generate a design that has a rhinestone look to it. Right, so maybe I can pull something off of Google here. Rhinestone template design. Right, something along these lines. So, our customers are again using their Rhinestone software to generate one of these designs, and they now want to offer that design through the Deco Network system. So what you would do is you would take one of these designs out of your software, you would save it out as a raster image, right? Let's say a PNG image with a transparent background. Uh, and then you're going to upload those as stock designs. So you're going to go into your stock design section. You're going to upload that raster image, that PNG. And for any designs that you're uploading, we do give you the ability to assign a price for them, right? So from, for the most part, what the feedback that we hear from those customers using the Rhinestone template designs is, they have a specific price for a specific design, right? So this fox design here might be a $10 design. This cat, uses more gems, so that might be a $20 design. But so that's the model that we've kind of gone after is you upload those kind of pre-created designs as raster images and you assign a price to them. Um, In most cases, you would also enable this option here, use real life dimensions, right? Those rhinestone templates are designed at a specific size, and you don't necessarily want the customer going in and modifying that. So by enabling the use real life dimensions option, that will allow you to go in and specify what are the actual dimensions of that design, so that the customer doesn't have the option to resize it, right? We do give you this allow customer to resize image option. So I could come in and say, that cat design is it's 4 by 6, right? So I would just go in, enter in my dimensions, and we're good to go. All right. As far as pricing, besides your individual design pricing, it's up to you. I'm not sure what type of pricing you're using there, Brian, for your rhinestone, but if you're using something beyond the design-based pricing, I have seen some customers use the area-based pricing for rhinestone, where again, these designs, if you've saved them with a transparent background, you could potentially use the area of a rhinestone design to determine kind of an estimate of how much material that design is going to take up, right? And that might be a suitable place to start as far as an estimate for pricing on a rhinestone design. So I have seen some customers use the rhinestone template process and assign area-based pricing to it. Again, uploading their pre-saved designs through the stock designs section. All right, thanks for that question, Brian. Okay, let's see. Steven's asking, um, in making team stores for sports teams, um, you would create a separate store for that team. How does a person access the store? Do you put a button on your site for them to press? Um, yeah, I mean, it's up to you. That's more kind of on the marketing side. Um, Usually what I've seen is, if an affiliate store has been set up for a sports team, the fulfillment center who set up that store for the team will, send the link to the team. Oftentimes, the sports team will add a link to their own website linking to the store, right? So, whether that's a Spiritware link or a fundraiser link, that sports team most likely already has an existing website, and so they'll go in and add that link themselves. You would just provide them the URL to their Deco Network website so that they can link that over. Um, Another example that we've seen is um, usage of the store directory feature. So Deco Network does give you the ability to enable an app called Store Directory. And this is an additional page that would display on on the main site. So your primary store on your system would have what's called a store directory page. So let me enable that for my site here. Once you have that app enabled, um, any store where you go into, let's say I click my new football store here, and under store configuration, you'll have the option to assign a store directory image. Actually, where's that option? Oh, you know what? I actually have to enable that page on my Mace site first. So once that page is enabled, you'll manage the individual affiliate store. Again, you would come back under store configuration. Once that page is enabled, you'll see a section here for store directory. So you'll click into that section. Any of your affiliate stores that have a store directory image uploaded for them will list on that store directory page. So it's a way for you to create kind of a list of all the stores that you're working with and have them listed on your primary site. So you're kind of providing some marketing for your affiliate stores, or at least a way for them to easily get to it, right? They know your website, so they go to your website, they go to your store directory, and they pick from their site there. For me personally, I think it's probably more effective to just hand them off the link and then have that separate organization, distribute that however is best for them, whether they do an email blast to the parents or whatever the case might be. Um, I think it's more powerful for them to have that access to, what's the address of this shop so that we can get the people there. As far as that follow-up question, Brian, um, it would work the same for vinyl glitter. Um, we don't currently have a process to support vinyl, but a lot of people do use the pre-printed transfer process that we have in here for the purpose of vinyl. Um, this one works basically the same as I just highlighted for the rhinestone template. So there's no specifics for transfer. This is meant for uploading pre-printed transfer designs as stock designs, maybe setting a price on them, just like we talked about for the rhinestone template. Um, so if you have those vinyl glitter designs, you can certainly do it the same, where you save them out as PNGs, you upload them into stock designs, you assign a price to them, and then maybe you assign them through the transfer process. Again, I'm not sure if you would then assign additional pricing based on area pricing or just leave it as is with the design only pricing. All right, but yeah, great questions, guys. Thanks for all the questions so far. I think we've touched on some pretty good topics. Okay, so I did find a usable Corel Draw template that we can kind of walk through and do a test upload with. Before we move on to that, Brian's follow-up question is, he's already using the sublimation process for vinyl. Would it be any better to use the transfer process? No, it wouldn't. So really, I see transfer, rhinestone, and sublimation as functioning virtually the same. Uh, the only real difference is in the name, but all three of those methods have the same pricing options available to them, the same design options available to them. So if you already have it set up through sublimation, I wouldn't worry about going through the trouble of switching it to transfer. If anything, uh, you know, just keep it with sublimation as you're using it now. Eventually, once we do bring in the support for a vinyl specific process that has that intelligence that vinyl would require, like counting the number of colors, so you know how many different materials you're using and things like that. That's when I would worry about doing some change. But until then, I would keep using sublimation if you've already set it up there. All right. So let's take a look at stock design. So we're just going to run through uploading a Corel Draw file. Now I will mention on either the last or the one before last session, I did cover templates, so kind of the best practices for templates. Um, I'll just quickly summarize my view on this is you're going to get the best result out of using the Deco Network template builder rather than uploading a Corel Draw design. Um, when you're uploading a Corel Draw design, you are going to be going through the Corel Draw engine, which runs a little bit slower or runs a lot slower than the Deco Network SVG engine. So you will lose some performance. Um, so for that reason, I do recommend rather than creating your designs in CorelDRAW and uploading them into your Deco Network system, if at all possible, use the template builder. So if you want some feedback as far as how to create those template designs, check back on our last two sessions. We did cover, how to create a template. Just to kind of quickly summarize there, within stock designs, you do add design, create template, and this is the interface that you'll get. The difference between doing it in Corel Draw or and then uploading versus the built-in template builder is this template builder doesn't create vector artwork, so it's not a design application. It's more of a compositing tool, right? So you will still need to generate your graphical assets in your design application. So let's say you have a mascot that's going to be part of your design. You'll save that mascot as an SVG vector graphic out of your design application, and then you'll upload it here into the template builder. So imagine this is my mascot image here. So you'll place your mascot, and then it's really the text elements that are crucial, right? Those are the bits that are going to be customizable, editable by the end user. So those are the things you want to add through the template builder. If you have text, that you did in your graphics application, that text isn't compatible with the SVG engine. So that's where you start running into those issues with, the design not being editable. So that's why you would want to do it through the template builder. You still generate your assets, your graphical assets in your design application, and then you bring in your text elements through the template builder, which would allow those to be editable and customizable by your end user. All right, but in this case, we're being asked to kind of show the process of uploading a CorelDRAW template, which we didn't cover previously. So let's go ahead and just show an example of that now. So I'll come back to my stock designs list. I'm going to create a new category here called CorelDRAW, and we'll do add design, upload design. So it's going to ask me to choose a file for my system. I'll go into my desktop here and select that CDR file that I have saved. All right, and we'll put it into my CorelDRAW category. And the last thing you want to do is enable this option here, publish as an editable template. All right, so let's save that change, and it's going to go through, it's going to upload that design, and then it's going to process that design. Right, so this will take a little bit of time. Processing through the CorelDRAW engine is a little bit slower than if you just built that design through the template builder, but we'll give it some time and we'll kind of check back on how that's doing. All right, so it looks like I went through, but it's not showing up here. We'll try that one more time. Now I know I'm not sure if it's Steven asking that question or someone else there, but you did mention that you were having some major issues with that going through successfully. Um, could you give a little bit more feedback on what those issues were? As far as, were you getting any error messages or, was it not uploading like happened for me in this case, or, we might be kind of stumbling on an issue here if this one doesn't upload for us. Sure. So let's pull up the original CorelDRAW design now. Um, the the original design I don't have the fonts for installed on my machine, but they are Deco Network fonts. Um, So the fonts are kind of off, but this is kind of the general design. It's actually one of the designs from our free template collection of sports designs. I just kind of saved that one off. Uh, so I do have it as an editable Corel Draw file here on my local system. So it's meant to look like, essentially like one of these down here. The soccer one. Let's see if we can find that soccer one. So it's this design here is what we're after. All right, and yeah, that second time doesn't appear to have gone through. So we may have again stumbled on an issue there. I'll have to kind of do some additional testing um, and get back with you, Stephen, if you are having that issue with the upload and you have not already submitted a support ticket with kind of the issue details, definitely submit that over so that we can track this issue and get back to you once we have a resolution on that. All right, let me see if we have some questions here from the blog comments. Okay, yeah, so there's one here. This was a question that Brian had raised through the blog comments. So we kind of touched on it a bit, but we didn't quite go into the details of it. And this is relating to, I think, to vinyl. So relating back to kind of um, glitter option for process that you might be using for vinyl or metallics, foil, thing like that. Oftentimes, uh, you do want to maybe charge an additional fee when that type of color is used, like a glitter type of design. So the first thing would be, uh, I guess, what we already covered, which is identify if it's something that you can handle by using design-based pricing, right? You might have a design that is done with glitter or is done with foil, and so you upload that as a PNG graphic, and you simply assign a price to it. That's one option. Um, the other thing that you do have as an option for you is to create some custom fields. So if you go into your product section and you go into custom fields, you can set up some additional options that the end user can select when they're shopping through your site. These options can then be assigned um, to individual products. So you could assign, you could, for example, come in here and create an option, which might be, might be a dropdown, which says the title is vinyl material. And that dropdown might have a few options, right? You might have standard vinyl, might have glitter vinyl, or you might have metallic vinyl, right? So you list all your options there. And then if you want each option to have a price associated with it, you press the configure icon and you set new field effects price. That's going to give you a few price fields for you to go in and enter a price. So standard vinyl comes at no additional cost. Glitter vinyl, it's $1 more, and then metallic is $2 more, right? So you can assign that type of a price modifier to your options. Now, this is more of a manual type of process, right? The system isn't going to intelligently determine whether a design has metallic or has glitter. So it will be up to the user to go in and pick from that drop-down menu and select an option. But what you can do is set the field to required so that the user has to make a choice. So they won't be able to add to cart unless they select one of these three options. So that makes it really easy to make sure that your end customer will understand, what they're getting in terms of what option they actually selected. All right, feel free to post in any additional questions you guys have in the chat. We are coming close to our allotted time for today's session. So let's give a few more moments here to see if we have any additional questions. Otherwise, I can jump into kind of some last tips here for the session. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into some last tips for the day here. Um, all right, so this question has come in a few times recently, so I do want to go ahead and kind of walk through it. Um, and that is kind of how do you make certain elements editable on a decorated product? So this actually came through as a question related to campaign products. Um, so what I'm going to focus here is kind of identifying the fact that a campaign is really just a website listing a single decorated product. So a lot of the functionality that is available to decorated products is also available to campaign products. And so understanding that relationship between the two can be important. So what I'll do here is I'll come in and I'll say add campaign, and we'll say this one belongs to me. All right, so starting off the campaign, I can go ahead and select my product. All right, and what I'm highlighting here is as you're adding text elements, to your product, there's a section here on the left-hand side for advanced, which allows you to turn on the allow personalization option. So when this option is on, it's going to determine whether the end user can go in and make adjustments to this text field. So you can even give it a label. You could say front name. You can set max number of characters that you want to accept in this field. And then you can set max width, which determines if someone's entering a very long string, if you enable max width, that's going to shrink down their entered text to fit within the space that you set here in your placeholder text. All right, so let's enable all those options. Let's hit next. And let's just run through and kind of finish off this campaign. Okay, so we'll just enter in some details here. All right, and we'll go ahead and launch that campaign. Hey, Anna, I did just see your message there in the chat. I don't see any question from you through the blog comments. So if you do have a question, feel free to just type that in now, and we should be able to cover it before the session is over here in just a few minutes. All right, so once we finish off the campaign, let's go ahead and view that site so you can see what that functionality is going to look like. So any element which has the allow personalization option enabled is going to be editable on the product page. That goes the same for your affiliate stores as well as your campaign stores. So we've had some users kind of surprised by the fact that it will enable the end user to change the colors of the design, or maybe swap out that design with another design that you're offering. So it is important to understand that functionality if you're building a campaign or you're offering your end users the ability to build campaigns themselves, and you're offering editable templates. Them placing an editable template onto their product might mean that those products are have these fields once the campaign is finalized. So if you don't necessarily want that personalization functionality, it does require, as part of that campaign creation process, going back in and disabling those allow personalized options on each of those design elements. All right, so we're just about out of time. We'll give a minute or so to see if Anna can submit her question, and we'll see if we can address that. Um, Okay, right, no problem. Thanks for joining in, guys, to today's session. Just a reminder, we will be back next Wednesday. So we're here every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. So do join back in with us next time to ask your questions, and we'll make sure to answer those. Um, if, in case you're watching and you're not yet a Deco Network licensee, do feel free to check out our website and book a tour with one of our client services representatives, and they'll be sure to show you, what the system is about, what the benefits are, and show you both the, front end website as far as some of the business tools that you get with the Business Hub. All right, thanks for joining in, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.